I know you're somewhere, I'm trapped in.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lion's Den. I'm back with another reading. This is going to be a health reading for Zhang Yixing, aka Lei. That's a lot less complicated to say for me. So, of course, we all know Lei is a member of XO. But for those of you who don't, Lei is a member of XO, China Line. He's literally the only Chinese member left, and he is the ninth member of EXO who is currently not really promoting with EXO at the time, at this current time. I believe he hasn't been with them for about 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Okay, guys. So for those of you who were, I think there's about 6 of you who had subscribed to my old channel, my first channel. My cat is making a mess. Hold on. Okay, so those of you who were with me before when I had a other YouTube channel, my very first K-pop reading, tarot reading was of Lei because I was really worried about him and what he was going through. I think that was maybe last year or earlier this year, probably the beginning of this year. Yeah, so I uploaded him. It was like I smacked everything off my desk. You can literally see stuff on the floor. Like I smacked everything off my desk and I just pushed record. And I'm like, okay, this is what's going on with Lei. I'm not going to re-upload that video, but long story short, that video was talking about basically the plans on how SM plans on sort of really getting rid of him. So what I'm getting at is this reading for Lei, as you can see, has a lot of cards. This has so many cards in Lei's readings that I could have done a full-on reading for him using just oracle cards, just the oracles. I really didn't even need the tarot to actually do his reading, but this time I actually pulled the tarot first. So the messages that you're going to see in Lei's reading are very repetitive. So it's just what came out like. And sometimes I do wish that I had recorded me shuffling, but since I didn't, you won't see how it was very interesting how they really all just match and come together. For those of you who don't really want to hear anything negative about what's going on with Lei, I would advise you to possibly not watch because I'm just going to give you a warning ahead of time. You may hear some things that you don't like. You may hear some things that he really is going through, and it may not be something that you want to hear. But I'm going to start off with a personality reading. And so these are the cards that fell out and also some that I picked. I pulled from the deck. So the first card that came out for him was Student. It says humility and devotion to knowledge and openness to lifelong learning. And it's just talking about how Lei is willing to sort of go with the flow, and he sees things that he does and experiences that he has as literally learning experiences, a chance to learn something new, a chance to go someplace new, a chance to develop a new skill. That's why he gets the student card in the upright position. Now, the card that fell out after that was the mediator, but it came out sideways, and I realized it should not have been either upright or in reverse because it's talking about Lei having a habit of doing both, and it's the gift of negotiating fairness and strategy in in his personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. But the negative side of it is negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. Basically, it's talking about there are times where Lei can be a mediator, either within the group or within companies or within himself and basically what the companies may want him to do, as well as there are times where he will make decisions or do things, and it's really to help himself. But there are times where it's just more seen negatively. It's not necessarily the correct way to go about things sometimes. So that's just basically what it's talking about. Visionary. And this is talking about his the capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. And this is talking about Lay being able to literally envision what he wants and strive to obtain that and attain that. Like Lay is able to set his mind and his goals on one thing and go for it. He can, even if nobody else believes it, it's saying that Lay will go for that. Lay will make his own dreams come true. We have the beggar card in the lighter attribute, and it says, confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awaken spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. So basically, it's talking about how Lay, and I feel more so Lay is willing to do things that may not be what he truly wants, literally, as the card says, for his own physical survival. Lay does things that he doesn't want. Lay does things that he's too tired to do because Lay needs to survive and he needs to follow by the rules of what's going on within his company, within his contract, within, everything that's going on in his life, because things will get really hard for him if he decides to not. Okay, so we have companion and the negative aspects. And this is talking about betrayal or misusing confidences or loss of personal identity. And kind of what I'm seeing is this is something that I felt a long time ago. And like I said, for anyone who knows about that old Lay reading that I did, Lay, what I get from Lay, especially energy wise, is Lay tries extremely, extremely hard to prove his loyalty to EXO and SM. And so it's like, even when there are times, and yes, there are lots of times where he wants to leave, he wants to end things. And I don't think a lot of XOL will acknowledge that or accept it because they see him say on TV otherwise. But there are a lot of times where Lay just wants to quit or give up. And he doesn't put it out there like normal people do, but it's talking about how he, with the companion, it's really he's not as connected to them as he wants to be. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not as connected to them, the rest of the members, as he wants to be. I'm not saying that he's not connected to them at all. I'm not saying they don't like each other. I'm saying he's just not as connected to them as he wishes and hopes to be. Warrior in the negative light. This is talking about trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to suffering of others. And this came out after Companion, also in the negative light. So it's also talking about Lay kind of fighting for that connection with EXO. He's fighting to maintain the group. He's fighting to go back to where he was comfortable at. He's fighting to maintain his integrity. But it's costing him, it's almost draining his own life force. It's like literally costing him so much physically and spiritually to try to force himself to remain in a situation that Spirit is actually trying to pull him out of. Because this is what I'm thinking. Like, he's literally, there have been many times where Spirit is trying to pull him out of this, and Lay refuses. He seems to have this very loyal, kind of firm as a rock stance of loyalty. And he doesn't want to abandon that. But right after that came Child Orphan. And it talks about independence based on learning, going it alone, conquering conquering fear of surviving. And what I'm getting, especially after companion, warrior in the negative aspects, and child, orphan in the lighter aspect, is that he needs to have more faith on being by himself. And he is technically by himself as Lei over in China, in America, and promoting. But it's like he needs to have more faith that he'll be able to survive without being under the SM company. Um, and that he may not need to remain in the situation that he's currently in. The last card is Exorcist, which kind of further eggs that on for me. That is just freeing yourself and others from others of destructive impulses. And like I said, I feel like Lei is very sort of determined to stay in a position that Spirit has been trying to remove him from for a while now. And so that's kind of what he got for his personality reading. Yeah. Like I said, I could have done a whole reading on him on even that alone. But since I drew so many other cards, I'm going to go through them all with you guys. So the order of this came out like this. First card from Archangel Gabriel is Let Go. Boom. Let go. Perfectionism. Recognition, staying true to yourself, and gratitude. And I really do feel like it's talking about Lei having a habit of he won't stop working. He won't stop working. And he's determined to make sure that everything is perfect. And he's determined to make sure he has, enough music for another album. And he just won't stop. And it's like recognition to me also kind of comes out. And I feel like it also speaks on him working so hard to still be acknowledged. And I feel like it's also acknowledged by SM and acknowledged by the rest of the members of EXO. And he is trying to make sure that he's still completely active and people can still even link him back to, his group and his members and his friends. But in the process of doing this, it's almost like he's addicted to it. Like it's draining him, but he's sort of like addicted to doing this. I forgot to bring out I'm gonna do the tarot after this, but it's like he's almost like addicted to working, like a workaholic. There it is, like a workaholic. And with all of that and staying in the place of his image a lot, he's losing himself. And Archangel Gabriel wants to stay true to yourself. Okay, don't compromise or water down your ideas. Listen to trust and follow your inner voice. Like Lei is not listening. He's not listening to Spirit. He's not listening to his guides. He's not listening to his own intuition. Okay. And we have lastly gratitude. And it's just basically saying thank you. I feel like it's really saying thank you for that they're saying, say thank you for your experiences. Thank you for everything that you've experienced up until now. Okay, so going to the tarot. So we have the Hierophant, Strength in reverse. And okay, we have the Hierophant in reverse, Strength in reverse, the High Priestess in reverse, the Six of Cups in reverse. I need more room. Hope y'all can see this. Okay. Five of Wands reverse, Page of Pentacles, the Moon reverse, the Devil reverse. Alrighty. Boom, let's get it. So the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant to me usually talks about basically it can be law, religion, strict rules. And I feel like he's under an immense amount of pressure, an immense amount of sort of control. I almost feel like it's a lot of that pressure is also himself. That's, but we have the Strength card in reverse, almost like he's surrendering. He's sort of surrendering to those rules, or surrendering to the laws, surrendering to basically whatever is in control. And with the high priestess in reverse, it's talking about him ignoring his spiritual gifts, almost him ignoring, because Lay has, I can't pinpoint what it is, but he does have some sort of spiritual gift, some sort of psychic connection, some sort of something, but he's off now. Right now, he's not connected like he used to be. I'm seeing the Six of Cups in reverse, talking about just almost like in the past, like there was something that may have happened in the recent past. I'm going to double check something that may have happened in the recent past for him. Oh, no, sorry. Future. That's coming up in the future. Okay. So in the future, he's going to not, he still plans on not fighting. He still plans on not putting up a resistance. He feels like he's still there with the Page of Pentacles. He feels like he's still there to learn something. He's still where he is because he's still currently learning. But the moon, I feel like is like, you're not, more of, I see the moon as him sort of almost lying to himself. He's lying to himself. It's like he wants to trick himself into sort of believing that there's still something left for him under the company, under contract, or in whatever position that he really needs to get out of right now. He feels like he's still there to learn something, and the moon is there to tell him he's not. And the devil comes right after the moon to say that it is an extremely strong obsession. It is an addiction. It is Lay is obsessed with loyalty and work. Lay is obsessed with almost maintaining the image of a strong person when in reality he's not as strong as he looks. Okay, so that's what the tarot cards are saying. I'm very surprised that this actually may be under 30 minutes. Okay, so let's go on with what his guides want him to come to them about. Being in denial, boredom, pleasure, shadow, balance, priorities, rest, exhaustion, death. Okay? So here we go. Denial, boredom, and pleasure. Again, and even with shadow and everything, it's, to me, again, talking exactly what the tarot is saying. And it's just talking about Lay is hiding. It's like the moon card, denial. It's Lay is literally trying to deny and cover his eyes and not acknowledge that he's bored with being in the spotlight. He's bored with not even just being in the spotlight, but with being in the spotlight and being where he's at and working constantly. But he's showing himself and he's trying to lie to himself and pretend that he's actually having fun and that he's happy and he's enjoying everything. He gets pleasure from this. And it's like, no, you're not. You're bored. You're tired. You don't want to do this anymore. At least you want to take a break. Right? So they want him to come to them about denial, boredom, and pleasure, and to find what the true identity of those things are for him. Okay, so next we have the shadow card. And the shadow is, to me, I feel like him hiding behind this pure image, hiding behind this image of happiness, is building a lot of resentment. It's building a huge tower of resentment. It's casting a shadow over his life because there's so many negative feelings that he's experiencing that he doesn't want to acknowledge. And they don't go away if you don't acknowledge them. They build and they just clog up your space. They clog up your energy. And without him being able to release that and be more honest with himself, he's just really making it harder for him to escape and harder for him to find his own happiness. Balance, that's like Lay's favorite word. Okay. Balance is really talking about being able to balance what you want to do and what your goal is, and balancing on your actual happiness, and balancing on what you need to do, and balancing what serves you. Okay. Priorities, especially with balance, is talking about telling Lay to get your priorities straight, to get them straight, to really find out what you want to do and who you want to work with, and how you want to get it done. The last row is talking about rest and exhaustion and death, and it's literally saying Lay is working himself to death. Literally, it's saying he's working himself to death. Like, I can't make this stuff up. Like, it rest, exhaustion, death. That's the only way I'm seeing this, is he is literally working himself to death. And I don't know how long it's going to take Lay to realize how tired he is, how tired he is, and how much he wants to just stop. I don't know when he's going to truly acknowledge that, but that is here to say that he needs to rest. And in that time, also really figure out what he wants to do with his life. Now, with these two, I think this is the self-care. No, this is the grace cards. And then this is the self-care deck. Now, I pulled these first, but I didn't look at them. And then I pulled these second. So I'm just going to go with these because I looked at these first. Okay, so this says, how do I put this? So this came out like this: surrender, partnership, support, gratitude, invoke, valor, shine, connect, and patience. Okay. I tell you, these XO boys are taking a lot of my energy just to do one reading. Alrighty. Shout out to the subscriber that actually asked for this reading, by the way. So surrender, partnership, support, and gratitude to me is almost a full sentence. And I feel like it's really talking about, to me, I see it as surrender the need to prove loyalty to your partners. First of all, they are your partners. You don't need to continuously prove loyalty to them, but it's surrender your partnership, surrender your support, and be grateful. Okay? I feel like Lay, he's going to find support elsewhere. I feel like it's something that he refuses to acknowledge. It's like surrender is here. He refuses to he refuses to give up. He refuses to let go of the fact that, yes, you're partners, but right now you may need to choose a different path. I mean, y'all, I'm just saying, I've been wanting freaking Lay to be back with XO for so long. I've been wanting him to be back with XO for so long, so I'm really sad. Like, I'm really hurting right now, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm seeing like he needs to let it go. He needs to let it go. I feel like I'm like literally starting to feel some of the exhaustion that he's feeling. And he's trying to prove himself. I don't know how much of that he truly acknowledges, that he's really trying very hard to prove himself as somebody worthy. But I'm seeing it as surrender that need to prove your love and your affection to your partners, and surrender that need to prove your love and affection to gain support. Just be thankful, be grateful that you've had that wonderful experience with them. Be grateful that you've learned a lot of things along the way. Okay. The next row is talking about invoking, and it says, ask for the blessing. There is an endless supply of divine support waiting at your request. Invoke, be courageous to the unmistakable touch of grace that will follow us wherever we go. Shine, step into the light. You are a gift to the world. Connect, find your center. when we stay connected to our spiritual core, the best and most advantageous path unfolds before us. And patience. It says, trust in divine timing. Your future holds something far greater than your past. And Lay is too caught up in his past. So this is really talking about, in order for him to really shine, he needs to let go. He needs to surrender what he's holding on to. These partnership support, those were gifts to him given in the past. They were given to him for him to learn from. Lay is an everlasting student. Even in the first reading, I believe I got cards of him being a student, talking about him loving to learn from experiences. He needs to let go. This is the time for him to let go. That doesn't mean that he has to end friendships or anything like that. It's specifically talking about partnerships, okay? But and also he needs to invoke his own power and his own strength that's within him. And that will be a way for him to truly shine. He needs to step out of his comfort zone, because he's clinging to, it's almost like a baby clinging to her mother's breast. He's clinging to what he knows and what he's familiar with. But it's time for him to let go and be patient for his own personal growth. Oh, Lord. Okay. Self-care. How will order this? Support, retreat, patience, intent, listening, rejuvenation. Basically exactly what this said. Basically almost exactly what the guide says. Basically, I believe this was in here as well. Gratitude, letting go. It's kind of almost like a reoccurring message for him. Surrendering, support, patience. I'm making a mess, but it's really a reoccurring message for Lay, that it's really time for him to move on. Okay, it's time for Lay to move on. Support, he has support, but it's time for him to go. It's time for him to retreat. It's time for him to spend more time on him and have patience. Okay, have patience. Set your intentions on what you want to do next in your life. Lay has to live more so for himself. And listen to yourself. You see how she's faced up against the mirror, right? He needs to listen to himself, listen to his inner self. Also listen to spirit. Here we go. It says, listen to your wise self. Let your inner compass direct the course of your life. And when he does that, he will be able to be rejuvenated. And it's so interesting. If you look at retreat and then you look at rejuvenation, it's like retreat is going back into your shell, and then rejuvenation, she's coming out. So this is what Lay needs to do in order to really get himself back into a stable emotional state. He's gonna have to relax. He's gonna have to find something new. He's going to have to do what he knows is best for him and not cling to what he knows he's used to. All right, Cubs, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comment section what you guys want me to read on next. I don't know when I'll release this. So I'm just going to say the date of today is December 27th. Okay, so anyway, Jesus. Okay, until next time. Bye, guys.